General Hospital. Willow's tragic downward spiral, a heart torn between vengeance, love, and illusion. This summer in General Hospital, Willow finds herself navigating a treacherous emotional landscape, blinded by resentment, manipulated by false promises, and haunted by a past she can neither change nor forget. In the wake of her shattered relationship with Michael, Willow's judgment becomes increasingly clouded, leading her down a path that may irreparably damage not only her future, but also her children's. In her quest to reclaim her life, she makes one pivotal choice after another, each cloaked in self-righteous defiance but laced with unforeseen consequences. Her growing alliance with Drew, and the stubborn refusal to trust Michael's truth, could cost her the very thing she's fighting for: the chance to remain a mother in her children's lives. When Michael re-entered Willow's life following a near-fatal ordeal in Germany, he brought with him not only scars from his physical injuries but also a plea for understanding. According to Michael, a clerical error and a manipulated communication breakdown prevented him from knowing that Willow had come to see him during his recovery. He claims he never turned her away, never rejected her, and had he known, he would have reached out. But Willow, bruised and bitter from the collapse of their marriage and convinced by Drew's retelling of events, sees only betrayal. She interprets Michael's account not as a heartfelt explanation but as a calculated lie intended to twist the knife, vengeance disguised as remorse. Her response is not hesitation or contemplation, but an impulsive plunge deeper into Drew's arms. This is not the measured strategy of a mother fighting to reclaim her place in her children's lives. It is the reaction of a woman desperate to feel control, love, and purpose amid a storm she cannot stop. Willow convinces herself that by marrying Drew, she will present a more stable household to the court and challenge the judge's decision to award sole custody of Wiley and Amelia to Michael. But in reality, this marriage may be nothing more than a paper shield, an illusion that could collapse under the weight of deception at the worst possible time. What Willow fails to realize, or perhaps refuses to see, is the extent to which Drew has orchestrated this entire narrative. Far from being the noble protector he claims to be, Drew has quietly manipulated the facts behind the scenes, allegedly bribing a nurse to block Willow from visiting Michael during his recovery. These tactics allowed him to control the version of the truth she believed, driving a wedge between her and the father of her children. Yet even as Nina tries to warn her about Drew's duplicity, her words trembling with urgency and sincerity, Willow remains deafened by distrust, tangled in a web of Drew's carefully constructed lies. The deeper Willow sinks into Drew's orbit, the more isolated she becomes. Carly, despite her own grievances, pleads with her to consider shared custody, offering a middle ground in a war that has already claimed too much. Michael continues to extend an olive branch, trying to convey that his concern is not about revenge, but about stability and love for their children. But Willow, armed with anger and delusion, continues to push them away, building her future on the quicksand of pride. Her decision to marry Drew, presented as a family-first partnership, is less about love and more about strategy. But this strategy is flawed. Should Drew's manipulations come to light during the next custody hearing, the consequences could be catastrophic. A judge may not only view Willow as someone who exercised poor judgment but as a parent susceptible to influence, willing to tether herself to a man under false pretenses just to win a legal battle. Worse, if it is revealed that Drew actively obstructed her reunion with Michael by tampering with access in Germany, that could cast a long shadow over her credibility and emotional fitness as a mother. It's not only Drew's actions that threaten Willow's future. The broader landscape is shifting, too. Sasha's re-emergence in Michael's life complicates the optics of any custody argument. If Sasha, now stable, nurturing, and on good terms with Wiley, becomes a permanent figure in Michael's household, it strengthens his claim of providing a loving, grounded environment. The court could interpret this as further evidence that Michael is better suited to primary custody, especially if Willow is seen aligning herself with a man whose motives are increasingly questionable. Meanwhile, Nina's connection to Drew, perhaps deeper than Willow realizes, could become a ticking time bomb. Should that secret relationship surface, it would not only unravel the credibility of Drew's motives but also make Willow look complicit or willfully blind. At that point, the narrative of a grieving mother doing everything she can to reunite with her children would be eclipsed by that of a woman driven by vengeance, willing to manipulate or ignore red flags to achieve a goal. The tragedy here is not that Willow made a mistake, everyone in Port Charles has. The real heartbreak is that her mistakes are born from wounds never healed, from truths never accepted, from fears she never confronted. She's not sabotaging her life because she's malicious, but because she's human, a woman trapped in a cycle of pain, desperately trying to make the right decision and grasping at anything that looks like certainty. But in her rush to reclaim agency, she may have surrendered it entirely to the one man who never truly earned her trust. Now, as another custody hearing looms, the stakes are higher than ever. Willow may believe that she's outmaneuvering Michael, but the reality is far more devastating. She is outmaneuvering herself, isolating the very people who once stood beside her, abandoning the chance to rebuild trust, and tying her hopes to a man whose intentions grow murkier by the day. Unless she breaks free from Drew's grip and begins to reconcile with the truth, she risks not only losing her children but also losing herself in the process. And so, Port Charles watches, some with concern, some with quiet resignation, as Willow barrels toward a courtroom reckoning that could redefine her legacy. The question is no longer whether Michael can forgive her or if Drew will be exposed. The real question is, when the dust settles, will there be anything left of the Willow who once fought so fiercely for her family? Or will she have given away everything that mattered for a fantasy that was never hers to begin with?